Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares.
Two 2,000 years ago, angels came to earth heralding the birth of Christ, and since time immemorial, they've been seen by people all over the world. Now, at the end of the 20th century, there are more reported angel sightings than ever before.
I decided that I would kill myself about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I got a rope and I put it around my neck and I stood on a chair. And I was about to let myself go when out of the corner of the room a very little thin circle of light appeared, and it seemed to get bigger and expand until it grew into like a sphere of light. And I remember feeling very transfixed by this image, and this little thing it just grew into like a bubble of light, and it moved very close to me, and inside that bubble there appeared a newborn child. And I think it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. It was almost painfully so. And it moved up to within about a foot in front of me, and it smiled at me. There was this music resounding around me very softly. And I remember just feeling so calm and so peaceful. And I closed my eyes, and when I opened them, it vanished, and I was back in the room again.
I can't begin to definitely say what an angel is. I think that angels are so mystical and magical and special that in a way it's beyond human comprehension, but I certainly believe that they are here to help us and that they're only a thought away, and all you need do, and I believe everybody has a guardian angel, and all you need do is think about your angel or call upon your angel, and your angel will be there.
I think it was an angel because I think we all do have our spiritual keepers. I think each of us individually have our spiritual keepers. We might not be aware of them. I think I was fortunate in that my experience made me more aware of those things inside me.
I personally think that angels are a kind of hallucination. But there are many reasons why you may get those hallucinations of that particular form. The culture that you live in and the beliefs you have will shape what experiences you have into an angelic form.
Over the last few years, there's been an upsurge of interest in angels, especially in America. Some bookshops have even had to create separate sections for angel literature. An American national poll showed that 69% of the population believe in angels, and of those, 32% report an angel encounter. By this reckoning, approximately 81 million people in the United States may have met an angel.
I've got lots of angels around in the home.
Yes, I believe in angels, big time.
Something out there making things happen, right?
Nice image in your head, you know?
Yeah, peace and...
I believe in ghosts, so I believe in angels.
I believe every person's got a guardian angel, and no matter where you are in the world, it's with you.
Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings. And I do believe in them, yes, I do.
The first recorded reference to angels is over 10,000 years old. Winged beings are found on ancient tombs and in early Eastern paintings. Most major religions agree that angels do exist. Some of them believe that they were created before man and are a separate species. Others think that men can become angels after they die. Angels are considered androgynous, although occasionally are seen as men or women. In the Bible, angels are rarely described as having wings, but artists invariably paint them with wings to differentiate them from mere mortals. One of the most familiar angels is Gabriel the messenger. He appeared to Mary to announce the conception of Jesus. Today, he's considered the angel of communications. So what is he telling us?
I woke in the morning at 4 o'clock, and something or someone said to me, "You are going to ask every patient you see from now on if they've ever seen an angel." Well, the first thing you say is, "No, I don't want to." But as a matter of fact, this urge was so strong, I couldn't resist it. So the next morning, I started asking from patient 1, "Have you ever seen an angel?" And the answers of the patients and their emotional reactions were so extremely interesting that soon I forgot myself and I asked 400 patients in sequence if they've ever seen an angel. And then patient 401 said, "Oh, you're going to ask about an angel, aren't you?" And then I knew it was not spontaneous anymore, and I stopped. And I wrote a book about those 400 cases.
When one that holds communion with the skies has filled his urn where these pure waters rise, and once more mingles with us meaner things, 'tis even as if an angel shook his wings.
Any and every member of the human species, without exception, has the potential to be aware of spiritual presence of one kind or another. How they interpret it, I think, is largely a function of, if you like, the spiritual or religious tradition in which they grow up.
I'm a Cherokee on my mother's side, and the Indians talk about the feathered people or the winged ones or the bird tribe. Every culture has angels. They have different names for them, but interestingly enough, to the Native Americans, angels look like American Indians, that they seem to take on the form of whatever the culture is.
There is no reason why a Christian should have an angel and the rest of the population not. No, they are a universal objective reality.
You wouldn't expect to find a shop full of angels in the middle of an army town in the southern states of America. Angels and Antiques is run by Anne Kennedy, who was diagnosed as having advanced uterine cancer. She and her husband knew there was little hope for her. In this reconstruction, she recalls the dramatic event that changed her life 20 years ago.
On a Wednesday morning in mid-September, when I was supposed to be going to the hospital on Sunday, I was sitting at my desk working, and the doorbell rang. And Gary, my husband, went to the door, and I heard him speaking with a man. And I didn't recognize the voice, and I got up to go and see who it was. And standing at the door was the blackest man. And he was speaking with Gary, and then he looked at me, and he didn't say, "Is this Anne?" He said, "Anne, God sent me to tell you that the cancer in your body has been healed." And I said, "How did you know that I had cancer?" And he said, "God heard your cry." And I said, "Gary, shouldn't we ask this man inside?" And Gary said, "Sir, would you like to come in?" And when he came in, I saw an unusual man. I was so in awe of this man. I said, "Sir, who are you? What is your name?" His eyes were so blue, they were like just deep, rich blue. And his teeth just sparkled. And when he spoke to me, it was like lights came out of his mouth. His teeth were so bright. And he took his middle and index finger of his right hand, placed on his left shoulder, and said,
"My name is Thomas. I must go now. But before I do, I must pray for you."
And he leaned his hand towards me. It was soft purple. The heat and the power from his hand just laid me on the floor. And a light began to come up through my groin, through my abdomen, all the way up through my whole torso. That light was so white that it was blue, and it cleansed every portion of my body. The man just disappeared before Gary's eyes because my eyes were closed, and when I opened my eyes, he was gone. He left us with no sound of any sort. And that's when I crawled to the telephone to call the doctor to tell him I'd been healed.
Anne Kennedy's cure, which her doctors confirmed, seems miraculous, but some scientists believe there could be other explanations.
If somebody sees an angel who tells them that they've been cured and then they find they're cured, You could say, well, seeing the angel has caused the cure, it was the angel that did it. Or you could say that they have, in some sense, sensed their own cure, that they felt at some subconscious level better, and that same subconscious has produced the vision of an angel to sort of explain it to themselves, if you like. I think either explanation is possible, and I think the latter makes a lot more sense.
The Roman Catholic Church has always regarded angels as an important part of its doctrine, and nowhere is this more celebrated than at Elche in Spain, where, during the Middle Ages, an ancient wooden chest was washed ashore containing the manuscript of a mystery play. We don't know where it came from or when it was written, but the play is now performed every year in the town's basilica. It's the story of the angels descending to take Mary to join her son in heaven. Unlike the Roman Catholics, the Protestant Church often denies the importance of angels, believing that man can communicate directly with God. Some other religions consider angels more as a poetic allegory than material reality.
If you want to know where a theologian stands, find out what he or she has to say about angels. It is a way of defining where a theologian comes down on the relationship between God and this world.
The Catholic Church teaches that angels are mighty intelligences, creatures created by God, with a moral capacity for either good or evil. Their fulfillment lies in living a totally God-centered existence, praising, adoring God, but also in carrying out the will of God vis-à-vis creatures that are less splendid than themselves.
Medieval theologians believed that angels existed to fill the gap between God and man. Dionysius, a 5th century monk, divided the angels into 9 choirs or ranks, flying in concentric circles around the Creator. Those closest to God are the seraphim, whose essence is love. Then come the cherubim, beings of wisdom. The thrones, described as many-eyed within wheels. The dominions, channels of mercy. The virtues, associated with miracles. The powers, in charge of men's souls. The principalities, who protect nations. The archangels, with special tasks like healing. And lastly, the angels themselves, who intercede between God and man.
It's very difficult to talk about a general view of the Church of England because there are so many different strands. Angels and archangels are mentioned in the Eucharistic service. Therefore, with angels and archangels and all the company of heaven, we proclaim your great and glorious name, is one of the great sayings of the Anglican Eucharist. I would suspect that many Anglican priests are not very happy about the concept of angels at all. At most, they would believe that they are beings that glorify God. Some regard it as probably superstition. Others, on the other hand, are very angel-conscious.
I would hazard a guess that the average intelligent Jew today would have angels in the background of his thoughts, and there are even 1 or 2 prayers in the prayer book in which angels are invoked, and hymns which speak of the singing of the angels. But the average Jew would not be too concerned with this. He would. It doesn't feature at all prominently in either in Jewish theology or in Jewish life.
If you want to be on the right side of the establishment, the intellectual establishment, you don't believe in things that can't be proved scientifically. Personal experience is not scientifically provable. Therefore, it's better not to talk about it. And yet, of course, it may be the most important thing in a person's life. That is why it is so important that these things should be spoken about.
The fact is that a lot of people do have these angel experiences. And when the Church cannot explain these experiences or doesn't wish to address an explanation of these experiences, people turn elsewhere for them.
Yes, you do have a guardian angel.
The elsewhere they turn to is often the New Age, where the view of angels is cozier than the awesome vision of the Scriptures. Denise Lynn leads people in meditation to meet their guardian angel at a seminar in London.
Let this be the time now. Let this be the place here that you can connect and open to your guardian angel. You are so loved. You are so loved. I love talking about angels. I love doing seminars about angels. And what seems to me is that when there's a gathering of people focused on angels, that it's almost like this cosmic call gets put out to the universe. And I believe they come and they listen and they're there.
He had a birth
At the seminar, Ellie Baker relates an experience she had while visiting her ex-husband who was critically ill in Germany.
So the company he was working for gave me a translator, who was a lady dressed from head to foot in black leather, with black coal eye makeup, and she just sat in the hospital with me for 3 days and 3 nights outside the room. And I did lots of praying and meditations, but Craig just didn't get any better. And the doctor said, we don't know what's wrong. So I realized that all my prayers were for him to live, because that's what I wanted. But maybe that wasn't what he wanted. So I went back in and I did a very long prayer for him to do what was right for him. And I called the angels, and I sat with my eyes shut for about an hour. And then when I opened my eyes, at the end of the bed was like a 8-10-foot golden angel. And I started to cry, and Craig opened his eyes and said, hello, Ellie, what are you doing here? And I left the hospital, the room, to go out into the corridor to sort of recover. And Beate, my translator, was sitting there with a harp. And I said, what are you doing? She said, I thought you might need some music. And she just started in the hospital, in the ward, to play the harp. And so I was completely overcome, and I said, you're an angel. And she said, I know. That was it. So there was like the light one and the earth one. And he made then what the doctors called a miraculous recovery.
In America, there are not only angel seminars, but angel newsletters, angel lectures, and even people who will contact your personal angel for you.
Holy Spirit, we surrender unto you in this situation, and we ask that you camp all our angels.
My work is called Angel Talk, and that's what I do. I talk, that person's, the client, that person's angels talk to my angels, and the communication goes back and forth. And the client is given information as to why they're creating certain things in their life and what is to come next as a result of what they're creating, what they're learning.
The problem about New Ageism, it seems to me, is that it's a kind of dilettantism. It's a kind of picking and choosing to suit what my current spiritual needs are. So I think it's a bit inward looking. I think in the end it's probably a bit selfish. And of course it also is a little middle class maybe.
Not only middle class, but according to Orthodox Christians, some New Age practices could be dangerous. By invoking angels, you might contact demons instead. The main purpose of an angelic experience is to change people. Angels can also guide, guard, comfort, heal, and bring inspiration.
I was driving home one evening toward my studio in downtown Los Angeles, and I saw the city in front of me, all the lights sparkling, and the idea, it felt like it was beamed down from above, the idea to put the angels all over the city. And at that moment, my first reaction was, thank you! And I don't know who I was thanking. Thank you, what a wonderful idea! And I went home and I worked out the details. I wasn't sure how many angels to put out around the city. And so I decided that I should put 10 per square mile, that I should deal with Los Angeles as a physical entity. And Los Angeles is 468.7 square miles. And so I decided if I put 10 angels per square mile, that would make the impact that I wanted.
Pink angels on London streets? Not yet. But if you look around, you can find angels anywhere. Cornwall has always been known for its pixies and fairies, and some believe that they too are part of the angelic realm. They are often associated with the mystic power of ancient stones. These have fascinated Ed Prynne since he was a child. One night, he was visited by what he believes was the Death Angel.
I was lying in bed, wide awake, and my heart stopped almost, and I thought this was the end. But I wasn't frightened. It was a beautiful feeling. And then my heart started to go faster and faster. And then at the bottom of the bed, there was like this priestly figure stood up there, and he prayed for me. And he said, life will never be the same for you. But the extraordinary thing about it was, the next morning, I went to the family home. I found my uncle lying on the ground. He had had a heart attack just right in front of me, and he died. But the thing was, he left enough money on his will to finish off all the stones here, and I could have a home and come here to live permanent. So I do believe in angels. They're really there. And the incredible thing about it was, I believe in angels so much that that monument that you can just see there, I called that one Angels Runway so they could come in here and land. I knew everybody would laugh about me, but I knew that the angels are there, and that's their landing strip.
Along with certain hallucinogens.
LSD, for example, that's a drug, but it fools the brains, one of the brain's chemical messenger systems, into thinking that it's active. It mimics, in fact, the action of one of the neurotransmitters in the brain called serotonin, and it stimulates a kind of serotonin receptor. So it's working on a natural system in the brain. And as we're well known from the 1960s and the psychedelic revolution, when you take LSD, you get tremendous visual experiences, and also these sort of awesome cosmic religious experiences too.
There are scientists who will say that chemicals in the brain can set off hallucinations which appear to be angelic experiences. And there may, in fact, be chemicals in the brain that do cause hallucinatory experiences. However, there is a vast difference between a hallucinatory experience and an angel experience. First, an angel experience is powerful, and it changes an individual forevermore.
Dannion Brinkley's experience was undeniably powerful. In the 1960s, he was a US Marine in Vietnam. He was also, by his own admission, an assassin.
I was basically a jerk. I was a person that thought that power and strength came from how much damage I could do, how hard I could hit you, how much I could intimidate you, humiliate you, because it tended to let me think I was elevating myself.
After the war, Brinkley moved to Charleston in South Carolina, where one day in 1975 he was at home talking on the telephone during a storm.
I was hit in the neck by a bolt of lightning. It went down my spine. It welded the nails of the heels of my shoes to the nails in the floor. It knocked me in the air. It suspended me in the air, and it threw me back down on the bed. I was burning. I was on fire. I could not move. I did not know what had happened, but in my mind, because of the lifestyle that I had, I thought it was my time. I was dead for 28 minutes, no pulse, no respiration. Then all of a sudden, I'm in this blue-gray place, and it was calm and it was peaceful. I'm not on fire, and I'm not burning. I saw myself straddled across the bed. I saw the smoke in the room. This light was like a fog on an early fall morning. As I watched, a tunnel began to form. To my right came a being. Whatever this was, this magnificent creature, I had never ever seen anything that I could conceive of to compare it to. And I was more amazed than I was anything. It was like, whoa, what is this?
During his near-death experience, Brinkley saw wonderful celestial cities and 13 other angels or beings of light. They showed him visions of a future full of wars and natural disasters, but said that they were avoidable. Man does have the power to change things. Their tidings were ultimately of hope.
The issue with angels in particular, from my point of view, is not particularly has one had the experience, but what then one does with the experience. Because if angels are messengers, the issue is not who is the messenger. The issue is what was the message and what do I now do?
To Brinkley, the message was clear. He was a changed man and found the perfect place for a new way of life.
That place I found was hospice work, dying with people. Because they don't die. They make a transition from this place to their next destination. And that I know everything about where they are. I know what it's like to be afraid. I know what it's like to face death. I know what it's like to die.
There's no doubt at all that during near-death experiences, people have out-of-body experiences. They seem to see themselves from above. I don't think that that proves that something has left the body at all. There are several good psychological theories of what's happening in an out-of-body experience. My own opinion is that it's a kind of switch in viewpoint. We normally build, the brain builds this viewpoint idea. I'm in here looking out through the eyes. There isn't really anybody in there. Now, it can, under certain circumstances, sensory deprivation, certain drugs, near death, switch to a bird's eye view. It's a kind of simple view. We use it a lot in dreams and memory anyway, that viewpoint. And so it just switches viewpoint. It's a quite interesting change, but it's not like a great, huge spiritual or dramatic change.
We are powerful and mighty spiritual beings, and at the same time the biological shutdown occurs, simultaneously the spiritual self begins to separate. And if they can explain away and try to tell me that all that they're describing is to define the fact that we have no soul, they're quietly stupid.
Those like Brinkley who believe we all have a soul would say that science has got it wrong, and while scientists may be able to explain away some angelic experiences with theories of brain disorder, their hypotheses don't always hold up, especially when a vision is seen by more than one person at the same time.
We got a call from the hospital about 11:45 midnight, you know, and it was the staff nurse saying my father wasn't expected to last the night. So my son and I went in, met my brother at the hospital, went in, they'd put him in a side ward.
I went to comfort my dad, and I was terrified. I'd never experienced anything like that. I thought, I'll go in. I love my granddad, you know. As a taxi pulled up and actually got into the ward, I was still scared. I could see him lying there. And been there about half an hour, about 12:30. I just happened to look out the window. This would be about 1:45, and I'd seen this vision. It was a golden vision.
All of a sudden, my son says to us, look out of that window up there. Can you see anything? And I looked again. I says, that looks like an angel. He says, I thought it was. He says, but I thought I was seeing things. So I shouted to my brother. He looked, he said the same thing. And when the staff nurse come in, I thought, wait, we'll ask her. And she looked, she says, well, I've never seen anything like that in my life. She says, if that's not an angel, I don't know what it is.
Its hands were just like that with its head bowed, you know. And after that moment, all the fear left us. All the fear I had left us.
He just felt calm and peaceful, as though, well, at least I know where my dad goes. I know where he's going. I know now there is a God, because that's there to take him on his last walk. Well, not walk, I suppose, his last flight.
There are many accounts of angels appearing at times of death, ready to accompany the soul to another world. And although the existence of angels can never be proved, for those who see them, there is no doubt that they are there. Are angels showing us there are more things in heaven and earth than we have dreamed of? And is this why so many are appearing to people now? Is a revitalized belief in the spiritual world indeed essential for our survival?
At present, there's an all-pervading sense of crisis in the world, and as we draw near to the end of this millennium, it seems to be intensifying. And the idea that we can trust the future of the world to military, science experts, genetic engineers, biotechnologists, factory farming experts, nuclear scientists, the governments of the world, is a desperate picture. It's pretty obvious that isn't going to solve our problem. The only way we as human beings can keep going and enter the future with any hope is to have some vision of how things could be better.
Well, the time of angels is now, and I think that sometimes I think of angels on the other side of this invisible veil, and it seems to me that that veil is thinning. And as it thins, there's this huge advent of angels making themselves aware to us, and more people are reporting angels with wings, angels in dreams, angelic encounters and experiences. So I'm really heartened by this.
It's a very nice idea that there's somebody out there who knows your destiny, who cares about you, who can help, who can intervene in times of trouble. I don't think it's at all surprising that people would like there to be angels.
When I don't give you food, you get hungry. Huh? When I don't give you spiritual food, you get spiritually hungry. And I think that this terrible spiritual hunger of the people has to do with the angel experiences. The heaven has responded to that hunger.
In this material world, perhaps many of us do have a secret desire to believe in these mysterious beings who stand for hope, peace, and love, all so lacking in our world today. But is there more to it than that? Are angels really making themselves known to us, visibly or invisibly? Are we indeed entertaining angels unawares?